All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing fantastic on this beautiful Wednesday. So we are just about to get started here, a couple minutes away. So if you're just showing up, looks like we got a couple folks that are coming in. I expect everyone to probably be here within a couple minutes, but love to hear, where are you, I hate to say dialing in from, but where are you coming in from? So we are in Delray Beach. I'm in Delray Beach, Florida. So if there's any Florida folks, hello. So yeah, where are you all coming in from? Go ahead and just put it in the chat. This is actually a new webinar tool I've been using, and I quite enjoy it. So if you're looking for a webinar tool, check this one out. It's called Get Contrast. It's got some really neat features. So we're just going to get started in just under a minute here. And all right, Karan, what's up, my friend? How are you? We got to catch up, a lot to catch up on. So hope you're doing awesome, man. All right, Vail, Colorado, Ottawa, Canada, beautiful places. Vail, Colorado, I love Vail. It's a beautiful spot. In the summertime, I haven't been there in the winter, but awesome, cool. Well, again, welcome everyone. I'm excited today. So we've got a lot of folks that are dialing in from all different places, and we are going to dive into a lot of the strategy side of messaging. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Was just there in Christmas. Beautiful spot. All right, beautiful. Thank you. I've got a team behind me, so they're going to be helping with all these slides. So Susie, Ina, thank you so much. They're going to be a part of this. So if you guys have any questions, you can drop that in the chat. Our team can help answer those questions, and let's continue on. All right, so today we're going to talk about a strategy, a framework called Textize Your Business. And ultimately what this is about, it's a simple framework to make sure your leads, customers, and revenue never slip through the cracks. And this has been something that I've been working on for quite some time. We've implemented it within our own business, implemented it in a couple customers' businesses, some of the tactical strategies we're going to dive into. And so we're also going to dive into sales message. So you might be like, awesome presentation. Hey, show me how to set these things up. We're going to dive into sales message. I can show you some of the features, functionality to start to automate a lot of your messaging that's happening when it comes to texting, calling. So really, really cool stuff. All right, so let's get into it. So I've got a poll here, and I just want to understand a little bit more about maybe a challenge you are facing right now. So there should have been a poll that pops up, and go ahead and answer that question, right? Because that's going to give me just some insight on how I can cater this presentation, maybe some things to dial into. I'm ultimately here for you guys, and look, I can present on so many different things. I'm going to go through this whole framework, but if there's something you really want to learn about, dial in, understand, I'd love to break through those barriers, those challenges, and go ahead and leave that vote. So, all right, so turning SMS conversations into sales, that's a good one. We will do that. All right, so let's get into it. So again, I'm Chris Brisson. So I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sales Message. We started this company, spun it out in 2018. Actually, Karan was part of that initial origin story on how this company came to be, but it really spun out of a previous company called Call Loop. And Call Loop really did outbound SMS marketing. And so the world of texting, I've been doing this for about 15 years, since 2010, and SMS was early seen as sort of like spam or SMS marketing, right? One-way broadcasting. And we started Sales Message with that idea of, I really want to have conversational text with my leads and my customers. I was using my own phone, and I wanted a tool that could do that. And so I figured, hey, what better way to solve that problem? And so we created this company, Sales Message, which, today we've got thousands of customers. We work with some of the best brands, best companies in the world, small companies, medium companies, your mom and pop as well. And so because we've been doing it for so long, I've seen what works, what doesn't work, the good, the bad, the ugly, all in between. And this presentation is really an accumulation on like, what are the best strategies? How do I implement this in the right way without annoying people, but being a guest more so than a pest? And so I'm excited to share because there's a lot of really cool things that we've learned over the last couple of years. All right, awesome. Thank you so much for that poll, by the way. And I will do my best to get into each one of these. So one of the concepts or ideas we have for sales messages, we believe conversations with our leads and customers is good for business. And what I've found is anytime that I open up a new conversation with a new lead or with a past customer, and just by reaching out to them, I can get to a conversation, right? I can get to a demo. I can get to some sort of action to maybe understand, hey, are they interested? Is it a yes, a no? I hate this maybe land. And so conversations are a way to drive the business. And as fate would have it, conversations and creating them has become a lot harder. And so the traditional way we've always done it, we still do today. There's nothing wrong with this. It's just, it has not been as effective as it always has been. And so that's calling and that's email. I know Karan, one of the challenges he had is just this, right? Like calling people, they're not picking up, and you got to sort of reach out to a lot of folks, right? The reality of phone calls, 84% don't answer from unknown numbers, right? 74% will listen to the voicemail you leave, and 95% won't respond to the voicemail. This is actually a screenshot of my phone. I feel like every call that I get is some loan or something like that. And I pick up calls from people that I know. I don't pick up calls from people I don't know, right? So I'm that stat, maybe you're that stat. And so where's this sort of world moving towards? And I would say it's moving more towards the texting side. Email, it's getting flooded, right? I think we're all experiencing all of this. And so what does that leave us? It leaves us with a story. And so my girls are a little bit older, but I read them this book growing up, and it's called The Missing Piece. And it's this Pac-Man that goes on this journey, and he's trying to find his missing piece. A piece is too big, a piece is too pointy, a piece is too small, a piece is right, you name it. And he's just going on this journey, trying to find all these missing pieces. And in our businesses, we are actively looking for, like, what's the thing? What's the missing piece? What's the silver bullet? And what I would propose is what we believe is that messaging actually is that missing piece. And there's so many components to this, but I think the big thing is it's actually a simple way to grow. And so I'll talk more about that. And to take it even a step further is that it's actually the tiny text messages are the missing piece, not long text, not a whole new way of automating and doing all these things, but really tiny text messages are those little bumps, those little nudges that move people down the step to open up conversation, book meetings, and the like. And so before 2026, again, I've been doing this for a long time, SMS was experimental. It was one-way broadcast. It was a marketing add-on, right? Your marketing team. And it was an email first mentality. But today, the world has really changed. So messaging is really an essential revenue driver, an essential piece of engagement. And it's two-way messaging, and it's also one-way messaging, right? So conversational text, mass text messaging, right, to a group of 200 people, 1,000 people, 50,000 people, manual messaging, but also AI, right? How can AI take advantage of, how can AI have these conversations at scale? It's life cycle integration. And so we're going to talk about this framework and what that means. And really, it's an SMS first expectation. I know we ordered furniture a couple months ago, and they send me text messages leading up to the delivery date. That was awesome, right? I didn't have the anxiety of knowing, hey, when's it going to be delivered? Is it on time? And so thinking through how you can add messaging to your business, it's those touch points, right? And it is this. And so SMS isn't just surviving, it's really becoming the primary revenue and engagement channel for businesses. We're seeing it. We're talking to all sorts of different companies, and this really is one of the things that they're solely focused on for 2026. So this is actually stats from our platform, right? So 45% a click-through rate on SMS with links. So if you have a link in a text message, there's about a 45% click-through rate. Now, if you compare that to email or other channels, it's not even close, right? And so 11% reply rate from outbound SMS within 24 hours. I know for me, I look at pretty much every text message. It's an inbox zero. And, I'm either replying to those, marking them as spam, or coming back to it at some point. All right, so I want to talk about now into the framework here. And this is the framework we have inside of Sales Message. We're going to be doing a lot more on the education side to help you truly implement this. But Textize Your Business really is this idea around future-proofing your revenue, future-proofing your business. I was at an event last week I spoke at, and one of the gentlemen I was speaking to, he's like, I just want to understand how I can future-proof my business, right? We've got AI on the horizon. It's here, right? How are you using AI and using messaging and using all these tools to future-proof your business? And so that's what this is all about. So there's 4 parts to this framework. We're going to walk through each one of those parts. We're going to dive into Sales Message. I'll show you this as well. And again, if you have questions, by all means, ask those in here, and hopefully throughout I can dive into that. All right, so the first part of this is the capture stage, right? And this is really turning interest into leads and conversations. So this is data pulled from Sales Message. And the idea here is, getting attention before they go cold. We all know speed to lead is really important. Speed to lead left to the previous way of a call comes in, maybe you get in touch, maybe you call them. Even if you call them, they don't pick up, right? And so the idea here is, hey, when you're generating interest, how are you capitalizing on that immediately? And so 57% of the businesses in Sales Message send their first text within 30 minutes of a new lead, right? And you can see here, within 5 minutes, no standard practice. Some folks are just not doing anything. Under 1 minute, right? Within 30 seconds, don't text leads at all, and then same day. And so what I would say is having this immediacy right after somebody fills out a form. Maybe it's 30 seconds, maybe it's a minute, but you want to engage with them immediately afterwards, right? Over SMS. We can dive into some of the messaging around that. But this is what is working, right? So when it comes to this capture phase, the idea here is, how can I capture interest? How can I capture leads? How can I capture this the contact information to then push over to a two-way text or an AI agent that is having a conversation at scale? So the beautiful thing is you already have all of these assets in your business. Maybe you don't have all of them, but you certainly have a majority of these assets in your business. So like, how many folks already have a phone number, right? Maybe you have a landline, and that landline previously before, it's just a calling tool, right? Or it's just a calling phone number. And so what we can do is we can text enable that landline. And so I was working with a customer last week. They're like, look, I've had my number for 15 years. Can I use that existing number? Like, yeah, absolutely. So we enable it. And what typically happens is people and their customers and leads have been trying to text them the entire time. So that's something that we can do. If you have a landline, we can text enable it, and instantly you can keep that same number and realize, oh my gosh, people are starting to text us, or they have been trying to text us the entire time, right? That's an instant asset. It's hidden within your business, and all you have to do is activate that. If you have a web form, right? You're collecting a first name, a last name, an email, and a phone number. Maybe you've collected a phone number and have done nothing with it, right? Well, now you can activate that. You just add a little bit of terms and conditions, and now you can text folks. And instantly, because you already have that asset, now you can enable that, turn that on, and it's right there, right? There's really not much to do because it already exists. Maybe you have a checkout form, you're collecting orders, you're capturing a phone number, but you're doing nothing with it. You can activate that, put them into an SMS drip campaign. There's so many things that you can do with that. And these things already exist, right? Missed call automation. This is a really, really cool thing that you can do. Is if you have a phone number, people are calling, and if your team is not picking up or you're not picking up, what you can do is run some automation on that missed call. So they call, immediately they get a text message, or within 30 seconds, they get a text, hey, I'm just busy right now, or hey, Chris. You can personalize it, because if we know who the contact is, we can personalize that text. Hey, Karan, thanks for calling in. Hey, what can I help you with? Or, hey, thanks for calling. What are you interested in? Are you interested in residential or commercial property? Now you can put them into a lead gen, right? So you think all these phone calls, now you can plug that leaky bucket. That's a really cool strategy. So if you're doing offline media, you can do QR codes and text to join. If you're doing social media, I can show you how we can turn those visitors and those eyeballs into SMS conversations, right? And so very simple, right? Here's a web form. Add this little terms and condition, and immediately you can turn this into an asset. That's a way to capture more leads. Gary Vaynerchuk, this is 𝗦𝗹𝗲𝘀𝗺𝗃. He's the founder of Spartan, right? That race. And the easy thing is, hey, just text me, right? So this is a simple mechanism for people just to text you. I mentioned missed call automation, right? You can do that. Text to join. You've probably been seeing this for years, right? Text the word offer to this phone number, and then you can essentially have a conversation with those people to capture a name, capture an email, capture age, capture whatever custom data you want, right? This is pretty cool. So this is from Grant Cardone. And so if you are using, let me see if I can play this. Yeah. So if you're using social media, you can have people click a link or swipe up to go right into an SMS conversation. I'll show you how to do that. So if you're doing reels, right? If you're doing stories, now you can just have a call to action. Hey, swipe up to get the PDF, swipe up or click this link to get the PDF or whatever it is, right? It will put them right into an SMS conversation, which you can then capture that data, right? QR codes. So in my presentation last week, QR code, if you're doing any sort of offline marketing or offline media, maybe it's a postcard, maybe it's a billboard, maybe it's whatever. But if you're speaking, you can include this on the slides, right? How many folks, when you're speaking, right, they want to take pictures of the slides. And so as a way to drive the attendees into leads, a QR code is a fantastic thing. So in fact, if you want to try this out, go ahead, break out your phone, open up the camera and scan it, and you'll see this example like in real time. Many of you folks are already existing customers, so it might be old news for you, but go ahead and scan this. I'd love to hear your feedback as you're experiencing this, right? And so one of the cool things is I'm going to include this QR code on all of my slides going forward. So you think of, hey, you didn't get it on that one slide. Well, great. Let me just add it into all my slides going forward. And so anytime that they're taking a picture, right, it will open that up and they can click the link and go right to the SMS, which will engage. Right? So you're generating attention, but between the moment someone raises their hand and the moment you reach them, that's where revenue disappears, right? This leaky bucket. So 78% of buyers choose the first company to respond, right? If you're doing any sort of lead generation, or maybe you're in services and you need to engage with people right away, especially if it's like time sensitive, right? You want to get on that as fast as possible. 5 minutes is all it takes for a lead to go cold. 98% of texts are opened versus 20% on email. And then you got like a 1% click-through rate. 90 seconds average response time, right? So that's the that's the capture phase. And so just do an audit on your business. Like what assets do we have today? How do I activate those? And now we want to move into the connect phase, okay? So capture, connect, and then we'll move into the other parts of this. And so when you think of connect, hey, we're capturing those leads, right? We're pushing them into this conversation. And now we can set up an AI agent to engage and have that conversation in our voice, to engage, to capture data, right? So that could be any custom data, to qualify, right? We've got qualification engine and sales message, and then ultimately to book a meeting, right? It can do all this over AI conversations, book a meeting, maybe drive to buying a product, whatever. And so let me show you all the different components here. So we've got AI, we've got broadcasts, we've got campaigns, we've got workflows, we've got Power Dialer, we have an IVR, right? And so it's texting and it's calling. These are the features that we have in sales message, and I'll dive into this. And so you think, all right, I'm generating a lead. They reply back in, uh-oh, I don't have someone to manage it. Let me use AI to do that. However, if you are engaging with customers, you can have two-way conversations with them. You can reach out to them. You can do group texts. So I know with real estate and mortgage, there's multiple people that need to be involved in that text chain. And so you can have group messaging here. And so, one of the stats that we pulled, and this again is from Sales Message Stats, is 58%, of replies are from the first message. Okay. And so an optimal sequence that we're seeing is around 4 to 7 messages. And so most people stop at maybe 1, right? Again, if you're using AI, it's going to have that conversation. But if you're using sort of manual messaging, following up is really, like we've heard it before, right? Fortune's in the follow-up. And so we want to make sure that we're adding messages, because 42% of those replies come from all those follow-up messages, right? So we have a company, it's called, a school really, it's called Alpha School. It's an AI school for kids. There's one here in West Palm. There's, they're expanding out, and they're like, look, we're generating an amazing amount of interest. We can't handle it, right? And so they've got a big problem, which is they're generating a lot of leads, but they needed a way to sort of scale qualification, because just because they got a lot of leads doesn't mean that they're qualified for what they're offering, to then book a demo and do that whole process. So they had 75,000 parents submitted their number in a period of over 8 weeks. And so through Sales Message, they were able to automate, qualify at scale using SMS conversations, right? And so it was able to do that. So an AI agent responds under 1 minute versus 15 minutes for a human. Look, I'm pro-human here, but I'm also like anti-leaky bucket. And so if we can plug the gaps here using different tools and automation, then by all means, I think we all should use it, right? Because at the end of the day, what's best for the consumer? Consumer really has the expectation of an instant reply. And so this is the way in which we do it. So a broadcast, right? You can send a mass text message to a group of people. Very simple to do, right? You can schedule that on a time, on a date, and so forth. An automated workflow. So we have workflows where, if then, and all those different branches, you can set all this up. You have a campaign. So one of the campaigns that you could create is post registration for, let's just say, a webinar or an event, and you can set that on date. So, hey, you registered for that event. I want to be able to send messages in a campaign that lead up to that event. So maybe it's a calendar date. So April 15th, send this text. April 30th, send this text. April 31st, right? And you can create those. You can also do appointment reminders. So like automated appointment reminders, to where based on the date of that appointment, you could say 4 days before, 1 day before, 15 minutes before, the day of, 1 day after, 1 week after, 1 month after, right? You can build these more dynamic campaigns. And again, we'll dive into this. I'll show you what this looks like. And so the idea here is you can start to build these unified campaigns that can run parts of your business. Like the appointment reminder one is a really good one, or even post sale. How do you create a drip sequence after somebody has purchased your product? One of the cool things that SMS is not always just static text, but you can do video, you can do pictures, right? Animated GIFs. You can send PDFs. You can send links, right? You can do so many more rich things with SMS. Not everybody provides that. I mean, certainly at Sales Message, we do. So you can have audio. Like if you want to do a voice note, you can do a voice note as well. So really, really cool stuff. All right. So that's the connect. So we got capture, connect, and then we've got the third part here, which is on the conversion side. So we've captured our leads, right? We've sort of textized this first part of it. Not that you need to do all of it, but I would say web forms, text enable your existing number. If you have not done that already or need to, we can help you with that. You've got a checkout form if you're capturing that information, right? And then the other areas where, hey, how do I turn all this eyeballs into the next phase in connect? And now we get into the convert phase. And so what does convert mean? Well, that means, hey, maybe I need to qualify them first. And then for those qualified leads, let's go ahead and book a meeting. And in fact, we've got an integration with Calendly. So if you're using Calendly, we have HubSpot meetings coming very soon. So it will automatically have a conversation find the best time. Hey, Jim, how about 5 p.m. on Thursday? Does that work for you? Yeah, that sounds good. Awesome. It will book that meeting all through conversation, send that through Calendly. Now they're getting all those reminders and everything goes through Calendly or through HubSpot meetings. It is really, really, really cool. Or, hey, if you want to give them the link to go and book it, you can do that as well. And so that's one mechanism. Maybe one of them is, hey, I want to send them to buy a product. So one of the things we have in here is click tracking, but also the ability to track conversions. So as you send out a broadcast, right? Maybe you're doing a mass message, or again, maybe in that qualification engagement, you want to drive them to purchase the product. They could click that link. We take a long link, we shorten it, we track those clicks. And then when they buy your product, you can then track those conversions and say, hey, that broadcast we sent or that message specifically, that drove 50 orders at a value of $12,323. You can track all of that, right? You can track the bookings, you can track the meetings, you can also track the revenue. And so that's all built into sales message. You can do this with automated workflows, right? All of these things. And so campaigns. All right, so that is those parts of that. If you guys have any questions, by all means, go ahead and ask it. I know I'm rushing through this pretty quickly because I want to show you guys the sales message and how to set some of these things up. But yeah, so that is that. And then convert, we've got that. And now we're going to go into really the fourth part of this. And so when you think of what is the life cycle of our business, we have capturing leads, engaging with them, capturing data, qualifying if we need to, and then ultimately converting them or booking that meeting or driving that revenue, right? And so conversions. And then finally, the last one is how do we care for these customers? And so many, many months ago, right, I was at a trampoline park with my kids and my wife, and it was a birthday party, and we checked in. And after we left, probably 15 minutes after we left, I get a text message. Hey, thanks so much for coming to the trampoline park. How would you rate your experience on a 1 to 5? Oh, 5. Awesome. And then immediately I got a, hey, thanks so much. Could you leave us a review? And it was a link right to Google. The beautiful thing is all of that is automated. So you can do the same process from all of this, right? Even you think, well, how can I capture testimonials? How can I capture reviews? How can I capture, in the review thing, you really want to capture the best ones. And so if I were to say a 1, well, I don't want to push you to a review. I really want to get your feedback. And maybe I can then say, hey, I want to, what was the biggest problem? What happened? What was your biggest challenge? How could we get to a 5? And I can get feedback. But if they leave a 5, I can give them a review. And so this is all sort of building all together, right? This whole unified approach. And so coming soon, we have reviews. Now you can do these today. We're just making it a lot easier for companies to build it all within sales message. So let's just say somebody buys your product 4 days later or immediately after that service delivery, you can send out a text message. Hey, how was your delivery? 1 to 5. They reply with 5. You could say, all right, send this link to Google or to Yelp or to whatever it is, right? If it's a 1 to 3, then ask for information like what happened. So you'll have the ability soon to collect reviews, again, all built into this whole thing. And also surveys, right? Like I mentioned, hey, this 1 to 5, again, you can do that today with a workflow, but this is a product that will make it super simple with some really nice charts and graphs. So if you need to capture an NPS score or CSAT or whatever it is, you can build this into the overall product. So connect and then to care. Okay. And so, so that is this whole presentation. I am going to go into sales message and I want to show you all of how to do this. And so for those that are not a customer, we can give you a 20% off your first month. So if you are interested in that, let me just bring these slides back up For whatever reason, I think because I ended that presentation, it pulled up here. So if you want to scan that QR code, if you haven't done that already, or you can go to salesmessage.com and get started. All right, so let's dive into Sales Message. And if there's anything that you're looking to learn about, to see within the platform, by all means, put that in the chat, and I will. I'll take a look. Okay. Let me add it to the stream, and there we go. Okay. All right. So a couple of things with Sales Message. So Sales Message is a conversational platform. You can have two-way text messages or two-way conversations with SMS, with MMS. It's a calling platform, and then really you got the AI and automation side. So from a high level, we can provision local numbers, right? So a 561 number or 310, whatever number in the United States, in Canada. We also support United Kingdom, so you can get a UK number if you need that. You can get a toll-free number, so 888-866. You can also text enable an existing number that you have. So whether that's a landline or maybe you're using another provider, we can essentially turn on messaging for those numbers. Or maybe, hey, I'm on X provider, I want to move over. We can port that number from your current provider over to Sales Message. And so there's no downtime. And now you got all the features, functionality from which you can do everything we talked about, right? On the numbers you already own. So we can see here, this is actually an AI conversation, right? So you can see right here, it's an AI conversation. So this person's coming in and in real time, right? Like it's responding back. And the thing with this is you build out the knowledge base of your business, okay? And so it's not just an AI that's reading from the internet. It is an AI that you train to speak the language you want, to understand what your business is, what pricing is, and all of the parts of your business, you feed it all the knowledge, okay? And so the way to do that is you would upload documents, you can import your website, you could create documents and really just sort of load it up. And so this is the way to sort of feed the brain, if you will. And so they can speak in your language, in your tone, in your voice, it has all the knowledge. So this is probably step one to do that. So again, this is all using the information that is built within the knowledge base. Super simple to do. And so you can see here, I can come in, I can pause the agent, I can stop and claim. But if I'm just having a regular conversation, I can have an SMS text, I can do a note. So if I want to speak to someone on the team or have another team member see this, I can have an internal note. I can upload images, right? We've got a whole media center. So whether it's an image or a video or an audio, if I want to do an audio voice note, I can do that. I can have saved replies. So you can build out a whole system for creating saved replies. So your team doesn't have to retype messages over and over again. You got emojis, an AI assistant. So if you want to make it, tighten it up. If you need to insert like a HubSpot meeting link, you can easily do that. Also with Calendly. You can shorten URLs, a signature, you can merge fields, right? So maybe there's certain data that exists on HubSpot or whatever CRM you're using into the text. You can schedule messages, right? So if you want to schedule this for later, you can undo. I know sometimes that comes in handy. But ultimately, you have the entire dashboard here to have a conversation. You can call, you can click, a link to go and meet them. You can enroll them into a workflow. You've got all the contact information, and you've also got HubSpot on the right side. So if I want to go and see the contact, what are the companies, what are the deals, what are the tickets? In one click, I can go and actually go right over to HubSpot and see this record. Everything gets stored on HubSpot as well. I don't know if there's many folks that use HubSpot on this call, but it's a really great integration. And we've got quick links. So if you need to link over to maybe an external tool or something, you can set this up. So that is really in a nutshell. It's a really simple tool to manage messages that maybe are for you. Maybe somebody mentioned you. You can see which ones are assigned to you, and you can see over here on owner. and on conversation that, hey, I've been assigned this. You can assign it to your team. So whether that's for you, you can have a shared inbox. And so that is, you can have multiple members managing the conversation versus one person, right? There's a lot of flexibility. One of the really cool things we just rolled out is smart filters. And what this allows you to do is say, hey, I want to be able to see the people that have this tag and they are assigned to me, right? Or to Riley. And I can set up these smart filters and it will then show all those conversations. So it's a way to really manage it. One of the things I remember years ago is where I wanted to see the trial signups. And so these are all the conversations on the trial signups. These are all the conversations on VIP. These are all the conversations on, right, you name it. You can really build some filters around this with this smart view. Really cool feature. It just came out. I know a lot of people are really excited about this one. So everything that I mentioned, right, we talked about the capture, connect, convert, and care. This is our framework. It's our methodology. And so if you're like, hey, what does it mean to capture? Well, you could see all of the different tools we have in here. And so a keyword, so a text to join keyword, you can easily set this up, right? Text the word offer to this phone number. And when they text it in, boom, you can enroll them into an AI agent that is, again, engaging, capturing data, qualifying. And so we can just go back over here. We could see a web chat widget. So maybe you want, like on the right side, we use a tool called Intercom. But if you wanted to create a widget that sat on your website, you can do that. You can set this up. You can choose, is it left, right? And so you could put this on your website. People can, text into here or have that conversation. And then immediately that goes into sales message from which you can have those conversations or roll right into an agent, right? You think, hey, that's another mechanism. So missed call automation, you can set this up, click to text. This is this whole idea of swiping up, right? And so QR codes, you can build all of this. And so what I would say is, hey, all of these are different methods to quote unquote textize the capture phase. Connect, once you have these contexts, again, we can do a campaign, we can do a workflow. So let me just show you a broadcast because this is usually like the number one feature here. So let's just say, hey, I've got a special offer, right? I can type in my text message, or maybe we have a saved reply that because we send this all the time, I can essentially create that template. You can also merge in and make that a personalized text. So like, hey, Chris, I just sent over the contract or whatever, right? And so we can, So all these merge fields. So if you want to merge in a sales message, first name, or maybe you want to merge in a HubSpot, I don't know, date of birth, right? Hey, are you still located at street address, right? And so you can create these very dynamic messages that are personalized to that specific contact. If I want to tweak it, right? All the features here, maybe I want to include a picture. And if I need to shorten a link, right? Let's say, hey, that's a long link. I can shorten this and there we go. And we'll also track those clicks too. So I could see, hey, how many people actually clicked that link. We can choose where we want to send this from. So, hey, let's send it from Ahmed's number. Or one cool thing is, let's say I want to send it on behalf of who owns this. So, all right, so this is a very dynamic way. So for example, if Mike owns the contact, I want to send it from Mike's number. If Julie owns the contact, I want to send it from Julie's number. And so now I can just create one broadcast to send on behalf of a team, right? Super, super cool. We also have something like local presence. So this is a really cool feature if you're a national brand or you want to have a localized presence. So for example, we work with Terminix, and Terminix corporate, they're like, hey, we want to be able to send out a mass message, but we want to have it localized in 561. If that contact is 561, the message was going to come from 561. If the contact's number is 310, I want the text to come from a 310 number, right? And so now you can get to this localized messaging at scale. And you can choose, hey, who do you want to send this broadcast to? You can sort it, filter it. There's so many really cool things that you can do with area code. Maybe it's time zone, HubSpot lists. So I want to send it to this particular HubSpot list. And again, the advanced is handle replies with AI. So let's just say you send a broadcast to 100 people and your request is to reply. How are you going to handle all of it? Great. We'll pass it off to AI. You can push it to this agent and voila, it will handle all of those replies, right? So really, really cool feature. That's just broadcast. And that is just one of the many. You can also do recurring broadcasts. Like a lot of people don't necessarily know that feature exists, but hey, once a month, I just want to send out this recurring text message. All right, so if there's any questions that I can answer here, thank you, Susie and Ina. I appreciate you responding to all these texts, all these messages. But if there's something I can answer, that would be awesome. So Susie, feel free to come on, and if there's a question you'd like for me to answer, I'm more than happy to do that. In the meantime, let me show you campaigns. Oh, you're the best. Can this work with outbound leads or just remote? Yeah, it certainly can, right? And so I think there's a clear distinction between cold texting and inbound messages, right? And so this goes into more on the legal side of things. And so number one is you need to get approved through the carriers to send text messages. And so there's a process called 10DLC for local. If it's toll free, you just have to get verified. Ultimately is you just need to get approved. However, by cold texting people, it is not compliant, meaning they didn't opt in to receive those texts. Therefore, you shouldn't do it, right? And so that's that. So if you go through compliance, right, you're generating leads, but I would encourage you not to just start AKA spamming people with text messages for outbound, right? Unless they've shown some sort of interest or AKA actually opted in to receive those text messages. So how does pricing for AI work? Can we have AI work directly with HubSpot workflows? The answer is yes to the HubSpot workflows. So if you actually go into HubSpot, there's an action and you can essentially enroll that AI agent from HubSpot workflows. So I won't go into HubSpot right now, but ultimately, yes, you can do that. So if you go into your workflow, you could see sales message, all the actions, send SMS, add to power dialer, opt out, and then, hey, add to AI agent. So you have that there. Good question on the pricing. To be honest, I don't know off the top of my head. I'll be honest with you, Susie, maybe you do know, and if you could leave a chat message in there. But I don't know the exact pricing on how all that stuff works. Let me hop over to campaigns, and I'll answer this next question after I show this. So, one of the things I mentioned is appointment reminders. And so, well, if you are driving, bookings or meetings or appointments, and one of the big challenges is, hey, people don't show up. How do you increase that attendance, whether it's to a webinar, whether it's to a meeting, whether it's to an appointment, whether it's to, you name it. So a workflow is a really great way to do that. Now, if you use HubSpot, awesome. You can build that workflow in there. But if you need to build it out in sales message, you can do it here. And so let's just say, hey, they have the tag kudos. I want anybody that gets this tag to enroll into this. So imagine, hey, you just booked your appointment. Immediately, I want to have a confirmation, okay? Welcome. Your appointment has been confirmed, and you can have a appointment date, right? Property. Hey, your appointment is on this date. And so that will be dynamic based on their appointment date, appointment time. You can create whatever it is. Also, if you're using HubSpot or whatever CRM, you can add that token in there to even personalize it even more. What phone number do you want to send it from? Great, we'll do that. The other part too, and I'll show you in a second, is you can also do ringless voicemail. So text messaging, but a ringless voicemail essentially drops an audio right to someone's voicemail inbox. And it works on the mobile phone, doesn't work so well on landlines, but you can drop a specific audio right to a voicemail inbox. You can do text to speech, right? So if you want more of a text to speech, one of the cool things here is you can clone your voice. So the way to do that is you can read this script. We then process that. We turn your voice into text to speech. And so you could then type the message, hi, first name, your appointment is on whatever it is, right? And I can use my voice or use these premium voices. So you can do that. You can upload an audio. You can choose an audio that already exists. So that's ringless voicemail. But back to the campaign here, what we can do is say, hey, the date and time. So if this is a dynamic campaign, we can send it immediately. We can do a delay. So like 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. We can do calendar. So again, like a hard event. Hey, 3 weeks before, I want to send them the 13th and then the 22nd and then this. I can just put people into the campaign, right? Hey, bought product, put into campaign. Awesome. That's great for like webinars, right? Or events. And then you've got a more dynamic thing like an appointment. So 3 days before or 3 day or on, right? 3 hours before, 3 minutes before, right? 3 weeks, 3 months. You can do before, you can do after. So let's just go back to the before, 3 days before, dentist time or booking time, and it's going to use the time or select a custom time, right? You can basically set this thing up to where it's super customized and super scalable, right? And then you can just keep going down the chain here. Create that, people get enrolled, and now like clockwork, they get these set of messages. Everybody gets put into this dynamic campaign. So is that cool? Like, it's really cool because you can do one. You don't need to create a unique one every single time. Workflows, super cool stuff. So you can build out all sorts of different things. So let's just say a review one. You can add tag, remove, right? This is a little bit more dynamic, but it gives you a lot of flexibility to build out sort of this if-then branch of things that can occur. And so we give you campaigns, which are simple. We'll give you workflows, which are a little bit more flexible. And then you've got HubSpot, right? Or your CRM, where you can do that. Text to join, keywords, and all that. All right, so go to convert. Let me show you these AI agents. And so let's see, AI. All right. So from here, we give you a couple different templates. So you've got texting agents. You've also got calling agents, right? This is currently in beta. And what this allows you to do is to have AI agents answer calls and answer questions based on all the knowledge that you feed it. So if we go to the texting one, let's say, hey, I want to book an appointment, right? I'm driving leads and I want to book these appointments. Let me get a good spelling here. So again, we've got the knowledge base, and so we can feed it all of the knowledge. The first sort of conversation, or how should we start this? That could be an AI generated message. So for example, you're enrolling somebody into the agent. Maybe you want to have like a specific message like, hey, first name, are you interested in commercial or residential real estate? And then you can take it and carry it through. Or you could just have an AI generated initial message. So if you want to book a meeting, right? Again, we've got Calendly, we've got HubSpot meetings coming soon. The idea with this is I want to engage, capture data, qualify, and then book a meeting over on my specific event inside of Calendly, okay? Chat to book a time, right? Or share a booking link. Smart meeting, this looks like a new one that came out, but this will handle reminders. It will handle cancellations. It will handle reschedules. So you think, well, look, they booked it, but man, what if they reschedule it? Cool. AI will handle the rescheduling. What if they cancel that in Calendly? Well, great. The AI agent will come back and say, hey, I noticed that, that time didn't work for you. Cancel the meeting. How about Friday at 2 p.m.? Right. And so we'll take that and carry that forward. Right. So whatever happens, the AI agent will essentially handle for you. Really, really cool. And so you can just prompt it and say, hey, I want to capture the first name, a last name, an email, and whatever this other custom property is. Right. So it looks like we got to reconnect Calendly. but we can also set up qualification because, one of the challenges like Alpha School is we're driving a lot of leads. How are we going to only put people on the calendar that are qualified? And you can set up this whole qualification engine. We've actually got a new interface coming out. It'll make this a lot easier. But ultimately, you just tell the agent, hey, what's a qualified lead? So maybe it's team size. Maybe it is the age, right? And so whatever question you need to gather, you would put that here. It would use that information to determine what is quality. And so you would just have to first capture the data. If that data meets this criteria that you set in qualification, it will become a qualified contact. And then you can, push them over here, add a tag. If it's disqualified, right, you can go through this whole thing. So this is really cool. Let me see if I can actually test this. I don't think it's fully set up. But the idea with this is, oh, that's a booking agent. I can create another one for just maybe customer support. And so you've got support here, and this will handle all your support requests because it's all based on your knowledge that you fed it. And so you can have people text in and essentially talk to the AI agent to answer questions, right? So any questions on that? Yeah, anything else? Any questions you want to bring up? Susie, I really liked that. How you pulled those up there. All right, we get lots of inbound leads that are not qualified. B2C education company. I want a way to get the AI to take action on bad leads, navigate to HubSpot, put them in a lost stage, and then triage to qualified people. Super detailed. I appreciate that. I would say, yes, there is a way to do it. You may want to, I would just say maybe play around with the agent. So if I were to come in here, I'm just going to put agent. Right, so Calendly, again, HubSpot meetings is coming soon. Not sure if you need HubSpot meetings for that, but you can come in here and go into this next phase. So the data collection is, all right, what is qualified? What does quality mean to you? And that can be a HubSpot property. So, hey, you know what? I need the degree. Like that's an important piece of quality information that I need the agent to ask for. And it gets that response and then can act on that. So the other part is the qualification. So let's go over here. You can then say a disqualified contact. And let's say you want to add a tag. So if you were to add a tag, that could then run some sort of maybe workflow or campaign. But yeah, I'd have to think about that. So you could see how maybe this might work. Maybe there's something else that you would need to do. Because right now it's like add a tag, remove a tag, send a message, add a contact note. Yeah, so there's that. Hopefully, yeah, I would just say you're gonna have to play with it. Maybe you tie in Zapier, or maybe you can even build this from a HubSpot workflow as well. So something to play around with. But great question. I really appreciate that. So, all right. I think that's it, guys. I mean, we're coming up to the top of the hour. Hopefully this was helpful for everyone else. If there's anything else you want to dive into, I'm here for that. One of the cool things we actually have is a power dialer. So if you guys are doing any outbound calls, we've got a whole campaign system. So you can enroll people into a power dialer. You can automatically add people to a power dialer list. It's pretty cool, right? I showed you a lot on the texting side, but the calling platform is quite nice as well. So, and what else? I think maybe, yeah, we've got all the integrations. Again, if you're brand new, you're just gonna have to go through compliance and get approved. The URL shortener, quick links. We have RCS, which is more on the, I'd consider, it's a branded text message. There's some interesting things we're doing with this currently, but the majority of companies are using this really on the marketing side. So if you're really just on the conversational, RCS is nice. It may not be for your particular use case here. And then teams, right? So if you want to add a team, you can import them from HubSpot. So maybe it's your customer support team. You can just easily add your team members here, roles and permissions. So yeah, anything you need, we're here to support. Susie's on our support team. We have an amazing, amazing support team, also an onboarding team. And so while a lot of companies sort of say, hey, here's our help docs, if you're coming into sales message in our world, you can talk directly to our onboarding team, and they will guide you, help you get set up, help you walk through compliance, give you a tour of the platform. And so we've got a great team over here. And so at any time you can just click on the support chat below. A real human will respond. Although we lean heavily into AI, we also have real people in the company. So this isn't a black hole. There's someone that will absolutely get back to you and treat you well. So thank you so much, everyone. Let me just go through these questions. An AI voice clone, variable data for ringless voicemail. That's a great request. I'd have to take a look. I believe we do have that in the backlog. I don't know where it's at, but it might be something that might be coming out pretty soon. Don't mark my words. I know exactly what you're looking for, by the way. You want to basically create dynamic ringless voicemails with merge data. So I totally get it, whether that's from HubSpot, through Zapier, through whatever it is. So thanks, Michelle. I'll find out for you, Michelle, and then I'll just have maybe Susie get back to you about that. So yeah, but that's a great feature. I've been wanting that for quite some time as well. All right, so thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you got some good insights into how you can architect your business, how you can capture leads, how you can connect with them with one-to-one texting, with AI agents, and all of the text-sized workflow. So my ask is, as you're implementing these or have implemented these, we would love to hear from you. And so ultimately, our goal is we want to help businesses textize their business from the capture, connect, convert, and care framework. And so if you've done these, we would love to hear from you. We are working on a book, which actually is going to come out fairly soon. And so we'd love to include some awesome case studies. So if that's you, by all means, reach out to us either through support or through chat right here. But we would love to feature you in this upcoming book if you've got a really killer story. So with that said, thank you so much. Have a beautiful Wednesday, and we will talk soon. Take care.